enduring lesson of the Holocaust and the genocide that followed, and particularly in Rwanda, and the genocide by attrition in Darfur that is going on as we meet, is that these genocides occurred not only because of the machinery of death, but because of the state-sanctioned incitement to genocide, coupled with, and this is the lesson that they made compellingly before us as witnesses, coupled with the indifference and inaction by the international community, including the United Nations, in the face of that genocide. You know, the ultimate horror of these genocides, not only that they occurred, the ultimate horror is that these genocides were preventable. Now, with respect to the genocides in the Holocaust, Rwanda, and Darfur, whose aftershocks still continue amongst the survivors, and where in Darfur, as in the women with AIDS in Rwanda, and whereas in Darfur the killing fields continue. You know, as we meet, some 4 million Darfuri are in desperate need of humanitarian assistance after over 500,000 have already been killed and 3 million internally displaced and the like, and all that is associated with it. With respect to these genocides, we were not able, and that is, as I say, the ultimate horror, to prevent them. There is one case now where the responsibility to prevent, if it is acted upon, can prevent that which is unfolding from becoming a genocidal killing field. For we are witnessing today, and indeed we have been witnessing for some time, a state-sanctioned incitement to genocide whose epicenter is Ahmadinejad's Iran. I say Ahmadinejad's Iran because I want to distinguish this from the people and publics of Iran who are otherwise themselves the targets of Ahmadinejad's massive repression. And what we are seeing today in Ahmadinejad's Iran is the toxic convergence of the advocacy of the most horrific of crimes, namely genocide, the crime whose name we should even shudder to mention, embedded in the most virulent of hatreds, namely anti-Semitism, dramatized by the parading, and you saw this in Dori Gold's presentation, by the parading in the streets of Tehran, even before Ahmadinejad became president, of a Shiab-3 missile draped in the emblem, "Wipe Israel off the map," and sometimes with the other words, as the Imam says, namely that this is a religiously sanctioned incitement to genocide, while President Ahmadinejad and others exhort the gathered crowds with cries of death to Israel and death to America. In fact, if one looks at Ahmadinejad's Iran today, what one finds, and reference was made to this, is the resort to what might be called incendiary and inflammatory epidemiological metaphors, the kind of biological language reminiscent of Hitler's Nazism. I don't like to make analogies to anything that relates to the Holocaust because that was a unique horror in and of itself. But the use of these epidemiological metaphors is very reminiscent and reflective of those same biological metaphors in Nazism. For example, Ahmadinejad characterizes Israel as filthy bacteria, or a stinking corpse, or a cancerous tumor that needs to be excised, or a germ of corruption, while referring to Jews as evil incarnate, defilers of Islam, bloodthirsty barbarians, enemies of humanity. The whole as prologue to and justification for a Middle East genocide, while at the same time denying the Nazi one. And as Gregory Stanton put it, yet another indicator of genocide, the denial of the past genocide. Indeed, the calls by the most senior figures in the Iranian government that call for the destruction of Israel and the killing of Jews through their terrorist proxies, Hezbollah and Hamas, whom I might add, are genocidal in their objective, anti-Semitic in their ideology, terrorist in their instrumentality, and global in their reach. These calls are frighteningly reminiscent of the calls by the Rwandan leadership at the time for the extermination of Tutsis by the Hutu leadership. The crucial difference is that the Hutus were equipped with machetes, while Iran, in defiance of the world community, has already succeeded in developing a long-range missile delivery system while it seeks to acquire the nuclear arms to fit that long-range military system, all for the purpose which former President Hashemi Rafsanjani said, quote, could eliminate Israel in one single storm.